So mad, I did it again. I flubbed the microphone. Bunch of stationers, content, let's play content gold down the river. So let me do what I did before, which was catch you guys up. Starts with I enhanced my greenhouse to include temperature control. There's a air conditioner up there and it watches and keeps us at 25 degrees. To do that, I had to mess with the grow light timer. It used to just do light for a while, sleep, and then dark for a while, sleep, and loop. Now it needs to be active in the loop all the time because it controls the temperature and it's not working the way I want. So I started looking at maybe inspecting the solar angle to actually start a day and use the minutes that I discovered the Wikipedia, the Stationpedia tells us for a specific plant in here, how much light per day and darkness per day average it's going to want. I've messed around with the analyzer, seeing that it does vary a little bit, but anyway, getting that loop running properly has been a bit of a test. Temperature control was pretty easy. I ran out of water, so I've got an ice crusher up there, and like I've shown before, with the setting, the ice got crushed really fast, but it got crushed really fast into water, just barely warm enough to not freeze. So there's that, and I've got 36 liters of water to keep me going until I can come back or need to come back on that topic. Canned condensed milk requires milk, which comes from soybeans and ferns, and I need ferns, and the only way you get ferns is trading. And so there's some documentation about the trading system that we won't go into right now because we're going to have to get into it deep later. Bottom line, it doesn't tell you enough. I'm going to have to go to the web to understand trading to get the stuff I need to succeed. Gases. Let's talk about where we're at with the gases. In a pretty good place. So we saw crush some. Oh, what's that? Oh, it's this pipe right here. I know it's this pipe right here because we're kind of on a replay situation right at the moment. Crush some ice quickly to make oxygen and volatiles, and then mix it together to make fuel. And I got some pumps here because the ratio was all wrong getting started, so I fixed it. And you saw in Mars, I'll probably go with this direction and not the fuel mixer in the future, but right now it works just fine. It occurred to me I can use Mars atmosphere. I mean, Europa atmosphere is oxygen, oxygen, oxygen. So all I got to do is warm it up a little bit and not bother with crushing volatile ice to make oxygen. And then we crushed the nitrogen ice, throwing away in here somewhere. What does this even do? We crush the nitrice and throw away the nitrous oxide part of it. I've got I've got some stuff to handle nitrous oxide, and the problem is it needs to be warmed here. So I will warm it. I will warm it using gas captured from the furnace. Plenty of heat available to keep these pipes from freezing with the nitrous oxide in them. So that's in the future. Also related to nitrogen, the coolant, I use it as coolant, and you see it's minus 75. And if we look at nitrogen, minus 75 fits really nice in the scheme. It's just down there before it would start liquefying. So I can have as much as I want at whatever pressure I want and leave it at 75 and it's good. Now I'll mention pollutants. I could take a similar path with pollutants. Temperature can get down to the same temperature as long as we don't ever take it above 2 kPa or 2 MPa, which is doable. And it says right on the tin, pollutant has a high specific heat, making it an excellent coolant. So maybe that's in my future, but not right now. Instead, I've got the nitrogen, and I've got it chilled down to the almost point, and that was easy. It turns out that was easy. Keep an eye on it, and when it needs to be cooled, open this valve into this heat exchanger. Otherwise, keep that thing closed so that it'll maintain temperature. And boom, active vent into the heat exchanger, brings in super cold air, which balances to the nitrogen. This is very cheap and easy. I just keep an IC circuit running and an analyzer running, so that's what, 20 watts. And then when it's time to cool, that's like 100 watts, and Bob's your uncle. So that was really good. That is really good. Okay, so all of this kind of relies on, earlier, this is supposed to come in right after the episode where I made the Constantan in the regular furnace, because that paved the way to create a advanced furnace. I got this all set up and working beautifully. I mean, it always works beautifully, but now it looks kind of cool. And I could do more with this. Are we going to capture the gas, or are we just going to throw it away? Part of the exhaust, which is going to be central for Europa. Right now I've got, though, 23 MPa of nice hot gas, and can go even further with that, but for now this is perfect. So I've got a switch to turn it on when I want and off when I want. That's really nice. Okay, and I'll probably just leave it on forever, because as you see, these batteries are filled, and they're filled because I got the gas-fueled generator going, which, thinking about the videos, you're going to see this a little bit earlier, but I didn't explain. I got it going. It pumps into a battery, and that battery goes onto the system. So that's my key to turn it on or off. And it works just like it did on Mars. And right now then, here's the rub. Right now, and I think these are overkill. It performs awesomely. Here, let's see it perform. Can we see it? Yeah, we can see it perform. Look at this. It performs so well. It just runs and runs, using that nitrogen as the coolant, and look at 14 kilowatts, which is about double what I was getting on Mars. So that is beautiful. I don't want to mess with this in any way, any significant way. However, we are using a limited amount of nitrogen as the coolant. And you see, now it's down at 387 kPa. I almost used it all up in the experiment. And we should be able to use, I think we should be able to use the air. The air is super cool. It's colder than our coolant, and while it won't be as effective a cooling gas, it's free. So there's got to be a way to do that. Right now, though, right up to the moment then, I capture all the output into that tank, and that tank is full of hot, and look at what's in there. All of my nitrogen plus a bunch of oxygen. And that oxygen got in there. I was like, how did that oxygen get in there? Well, it got in there because when I first fired it up and started saving all the gases out, this box was full of oxygen. So that's the very next thing, is I need to filter out the oxygen as I return it back onto the coolant pipe, which will cool itself, probably need more help because it's hotter now than, it's significantly hotter than it came out of the ice crusher. I'm pleased with the performance of the cooler as it relates to the ice crusher, which comes out around 0 or whatever, but here we got to get down from, it's only 8.5. I bet it'll work just fine, won't it? Speaking quickly because all of this is old news. I'm going to do a boring thing and filter out oxygen and put that back on the pipe. And then I also released the video where I tried to put in oxygen in this box and it just didn't work out. So I need to sort this out and get to where I can run this thing whenever I need it. And that includes cooling the coolant on demand to keep the pressure up, and or using oxygen. And then wiring this in. Right now there's this silly master mode switch for, do we want this whole thing running or not running? And it's because this code slaves the on-off switch to the is it running switch. I won't even show you. And that's valuable to kickstart it, but I don't need to kickstart it. I already kickstarted it. It's up where it'll just run now. It never gets too cold because I built it inside of these vacuum frames, not just walls. And this reinforced glass isn't passing any heat because this temperature, like I said, I had to run it up from minus 150 to get up to, I had to kickstart it a bunch of times to get it warmed up to run, but now it runs and it will continue to run. So that's beautiful. So my logic is simple. If the battery needs to be charged, turn the thing on and it'll, oh, come on. Well, no, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I need to sort this out so that every time I say turn the thing on, it does turn on and it doesn't slave anymore. It probably doesn't need to be anything much, but I haven't done it and I need to do it. So those are the projects in front of me. And then I wrote down, while we're doing this, a couple more minutes. Okay, so basic survival. I got power sussed out, or coming along nicely. It's almost where it needs to be. Shelter is fine. Shelter is checked off as done. I mean, one day I'll move out of this greenhouse and into a palatial lab, but not soon. I got water, good enough. Air to breathe. It needs more attention, but it's good. And then food, of course. I got a stream of food. Potatoes grow just fine. I made a bunch of canned fries. Basic survival, check. Greenhouse, temperature is done. I've got a good start on pressure. All we got to do is just watch the pressure levels and take out oxygen as required. And composition, I'm nowhere. Composition, I am nowhere with any sort of sustainable plan to make sure that there's always enough carbon dioxide and nitrogen in the air to grow the veggies. Nowhere with that. Soybeans, wheat. I've got soybeans where I want them to be. I mean, I could grow them faster, but they're okay. Similarly, I've got wheat where it grows okay. What do we got? Thriving. Well, but they're brand new. The illumination stress, I'm tweaking on it, and I'll get there, and it will be good, and we'll check off wheat. And then I need to be able to grow ferns, pumpkins, and chickens, and those all require trader. Let's see. The input fuel. The input fuel to the furnace and the GPG. Again, it's a matter of temperature and pressure. It just happens to be, and I haven't done anything to much with it. It happens to be minus 23 right now. I want that fuel cold. I want this tank lower pressure and very cold so that we're using less when we run these machines and it'll run forever. Right now it's fine, but it can be better. Goofed around with the Stirling engine, talked about trading, didn't talk about the deep miner. I'm going to bring in the steel, the ore for the carbon and the iron, using a deep miner. As something new to try. It's considered game-breaking simple, Well, I haven't done it, so let's do game breaking simple. And then I need to build up the rocket to keep the volatiles and nitrous flowing. And that's it. That's everything on my mind right now. Alluded to a couple of projects that aren't going to be so interesting to watch. I'll bring you guys back in when there is something cool happening, something new and exciting. And otherwise, I hope you're having a great day. And we'll see you next time.